Hello, welcome to the 1878 FM podcast. After another Everton win, I didn't know how, I honestly didn't know how to sort of start. I'm thinking, we won again.
You nearly went full Jamie Carragher.
What?
Like, what's going on? Why are we winning? Back-to-back games. Let's just analyse it on the tactics board.
But Dave, another victory for the Toffees down on the south coast. What a result for David Moyes' men.
Huge result, as you say. It's a strange feeling, isn't it, to kind of think we've won again. 2 on the bounce. But yeah, massive result. Really resilient. Wound them up as well. I loved the Seagull celebration and coming home with 3 points. And yeah, just a really important one that in terms of the table just gives us a little bit of breathing space.
Is it a case for you, because it is for me, of looking upwards now, looking at those teams above and going, yeah, we can catch them? I mean, I was really disappointed that Manchester United won late on Sunday night because I was thinking we'll be above them soon. And those sort of teams, West Ham, glad they didn't win because I'm thinking we'll get above them. Rather than going, oh my God, how Ipswich getting on. Listen, of course, there is still that. You have to look what's below, but it's nice to be able to look at that group above as well, isn't it? And think we might catch some of them, or we can get ourselves in the mix with those teams.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're not that far ahead. I mean, still the primary objective for me is obviously to keep an eye on what's going on below us. But yeah, there's no reason why we can't actually sort of swap positions with some of those that you've mentioned above us and end up in a more respectable, situation than we feared only a couple of weeks ago.
I mean, Ped, it was a tough game going down. I think we both felt we might be able to get something out of it, but to go and win the game and to be as resolute as we were is obviously really satisfying in that way, because the way we have been a bit more attacking at Goodison, it is good to be able to see that other side of it as well. Don't know how much of it was by design or some of the things that went on, but it is good dragging ourselves closer to that pack above, isn't it? And rather than just being in that sort of 3-horse race to be relegated now. Because obviously Southampton are gone, aren't they?
Yeah. No, it was a really good result, and obviously we've gone over it. I mean, the temptation is to look up, isn't it? The temptation is to look at those teams above. I think this weekend is pivotal to trying to just get away from them, to try and get in that pack above us. Obviously, if we were to win on Saturday, I think we go above Spurs for at least 24 hours. So we can get in that pack, it would be ideal, wouldn't it? Because I know we're only just going into February, but the earlier we can get away from there and start enjoying our football a little bit more, and then you've got the stuff with Goodison and leaving Goodison, and it would just be nice, and even if there was just a couple more teams between us in the bottom 3, I think that mentally that would have a big factor on it, wouldn't it? Because you'd look at it and think, well, we're not the next one to drop or whatever if someone has a good result. So just a couple of wins, a couple of teams. But if we were to get a couple more wins, you could, you look at the table completely different. Because you look at the table and you think, right, we need 12 points, don't we? That really, we need 12 points.
12 points does it, yeah.
It's probably what we need around. Certainly going off what clubs have done in the last couple of years, I think that would be enough. So start with 3 on Saturday would be huge. Obviously that will be tough because of the injuries we've got. But yeah, everything's looking a little bit rosier, and the other fans have got belief back, and you just think now, yeah, we can win games of football. And that wasn't there. That simply wasn't there.
Dave, I mean, the big negative from Saturday obviously was losing Dominic Calvert-Lewin and losing Oral Mangala, who's been very good. I think Mangala's done for the season. I think that's him done. So how important, with 6 days to go in the window, is it that Everton get some business done?
I think it's crucial. I mean, obviously Moyes was asked about that after the game, wasn't he? And he didn't shirk the question. He didn't sort of shrug his shoulders. He agreed with it, and he said, yeah, I think that obviously given the injuries that happened on Saturday, then even more reason to try and do some business before the window closes. obviously don't want to, I want to see Dominic back as soon as possible. But if there is to be one positive, then maybe that makes that need to make sure that one of those additions is an out-and-out striker. Maybe the timing of this means that will be the priority, which I think it's needed to be for a long time. But yeah, I mean, it does leave us very, very short, doesn't it? Because Betto, he's not up to it. I think we've seen enough now. He's not up to it at that level.
Yeah, I for what we need anyway, definitely he isn't a starter for me. And you're right, you just think, wouldn't you, that with losing Dominic Calvert-Lewin potentially in the summer anyway, you would think there was a list somewhere with a load of names on it that Everton I've been looking at, I've been scouting, and would already have made their mind up on a few with obviously with the summer coming up. I know a lot of people, listen, there's no evidence of this yet at Everton, but a lot of people believe, transfers are done, quite quickly and stuff. But these things aren't. They take months and months of research when you talk about bringing in players for high amounts of money and obviously offering them big contracts. So you think there would be a list somewhere of possible replacements for Dominic Calvert-Lewin in summer, obviously given the fact that he can go on a free transfer. And you just wonder whether Everton could possibly tap into some of that. I know PSR is still very tight, and it'll be a lot easier. But you just think that there would be a list, and you could maybe look at going to get one, and because that just seems the most sensible thing to do. Because we definitely do need one. You're right. It's definitely hastening that up, and I think anyone else they were looking at in any of those other positions probably needs to be put to bed now and just go all out for that centre forward, because we certainly can't go the rest of the season or looking at the rest of the season with Betto and Chimiti, and Chimiti's not even fit, so God knows when he's going to be back. And obviously Dom could be 2-3 months, so there's no banking and he will come back, and Brozier obviously the same. So it's so important.
Well, Dom's done for the season, I think, isn't he?
You'd sort of just have to look at it that way in many ways. I don't know if he is or he isn't, but you'd have to sort of look at it that way, wouldn't you? And go, if it's gonna be the most important part of the season. Put it that way. It's going to be the part of the season where we get the job done. We don't want to be waiting for him to come back to then finish the job. We want the job done in the next.
We've had this situation before, haven't we? When he's been out injured, and we've been desperate to get him back, and arguably we've rushed him back because we've been desperate for that, which is not the thing to do either, because then you end up kind of aggravating that injury and he's out even longer. It goes back to what we said for ages though, but for me, I just always feel that the spine of the team is the most important thing. You should always strengthen the spine first, but for some reason, whenever you read any transfer news about our club, it always seems to be another bloody winger. Always, it's a winger here and it's a winger there. And it's like, no, just, we need an out and out centre forward, and we don't seem to buy those.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the way the game's changed as well, though, isn't it? It's just the way the game's changed, though, and because people haven't developed number 9s as such anymore, then they've become such a high commodity, and it's just strange. It's like, well, why don't football clubs start developing number 9s again then, rather than trying to go away from this idea that it's all about 3 up front or whatever? Start developing number 9s so they're less scarce, like we used to have them. That would make the most sense. But you are right, that spine is the most important thing. You can train a player to play in so many other positions. As long if they're a wide player or stuff, they can fill in a full back, or they can go, or you can get midfielders to go wide. But that spine is such an important position that you've got to get it right, and you've got to have like for likes, haven't you? There's too much. I think there's so much in football now where it's like, well, you've got to have a variation on that position, and it's like, yeah, but what if your main player gets injured and the next one down is the variation? Then if you have to change your style, and this goes back to what we were talking about last year and the year before, of like, well, we lost Dom and we had Mopai. It was like, where's the common sense there? And I know Dom and Betto are a little bit more like for like, but back to goal, Betto's obviously nowhere near him, and Chimiti obviously was being lined up for that position. So the injuries have obviously caught up with us massively. So they're going to have to pull a finger out in the next few days.
See, I'm going to slightly disagree with the pair here on Betto, just slightly. No issue saying his back to goal play isn't very good. I think where it breaks down is who you play directly off him. I think if you're in a like Sean Dyche's system where it's very much one on his own and you are firing long balls up to him, I'd agree he can't do that job. But I think
he hasn't got the touch.
No. So the way David Moyes generally has tried to play so far, we can only use his first sort of 3 games as evidence, is trying to play a little bit more football. And I think where it broke down on Saturday was, and me and Ped sort of went through this on the final word, was we had Betto and we had Decore as our front sort of players, and neither of them you would trust to keep hold of the football for you. But I think if you had, say, Illiman and Jai off Betto, or someone like that who's better on the ball, I think you can utilise Betto with little through balls in behind. But that doesn't mean...
So you have to do the old-fashioned big strike and knocking it down to somebody you can actually sort of,
but just somebody who can thread them. Yeah, I think, because I honestly, I think, Dave, if Betto had the same kind of chances as Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he scores more than him. That's my belief. I think he's a better finisher than Dom. Dom's a better all-round player, in my opinion. Better touch, more... He's probably quicker, sort of in a sprint situation, and he brings other people into the game more than what Betto does. But I do believe Betto is a better finisher than Dom. But regardless of all that anyway, we need another striker, because we don't know if Dom's 6 weeks or 4 months. We've no idea. Chimiti, we don't know what's happening with him either. No one said anything about him. He was on the bench against Forest the other week, and then he disappeared from the squads again. There's no... The 21s played last night, he wasn't in it. Yeah. So it's all of that
stuff. If Betto gets crocked, for example, which he could
that's
do.
what I mean.
If Betto gets crocked, then we're absolutely knackered.
We've got nobody. So me and Ped were saying yesterday, you could argue they need 2 strikers in to help Betto. If Dom really is 6, 8, 10 weeks, then are we really just going to carry... Unless you're prepared to throw in Jai as a striker, or you're prepared to bring Martin Sheriff in or Omari Benjamin, you're putting the weight of the world on them kids, aren't you? Who've never played up front in the Premier League. So it's a tricky one, and one might be something short term, like an Arnautovic or someone like that, who you get for 4 or 5 months because he's done it, and then you get a younger version. I know Evan Ferguson has been mentioned again, but that seems unlikely to me. If West Ham want him, he's played for Potter before, or things like that. But we definitely need a winger. We definitely need at least one centre forward, and we need another midfield player for me as well. Because if Mangala, and it does look like he's done for the season, just to get back to... I mean, Moyes was talking about 2 or 3 when everyone was fit.
Yeah.
We're never going to bring...
Does that make it now 4 or 5?
I know, but I just don't see 5 players coming in. But
I don't see it either. I think we might get 3.
Yeah, I do. And just to reiterate what Ped said, if we are looking at, say it is 12 points, then 3 wins, 3 draws from 16 games, that allows you to lose another 10. That should be doable. And if Everton could get that win this Saturday, Dave, against Leicester at home, and it will be tricky, but they aren't great. If Everton could beat them at the weekend, what a massive boost that would be.
I agree, and they should do. The only problem is, as we know, is that often the games that on paper, should be the guaranteed 3 points, seldom are.
Yeah. I mean, how huge will 3 wins on the run be, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, going into the cup game as well, isn't it? We're playing Bournemouth, and then we play Liverpool. So, obviously, from that point of view, it does take a lot of pressure off, doesn't it? And it's a brilliant start, and I think everyone then just is looking up, I think. And you're closer to the 30 points than you are to the 20 points. And as you know, it'll be early February. It's the first weekend of February. So you're looking at it thinking there's plenty of time. We can get better. Might take a little bit of pressure off the end of the window as well, if and it's just at the end of the day you're just getting closer to your goal, and obviously beating Leicester as well, that'd be in terms of like a 6-pointer almost as well. And I honestly do believe we beat Leicester, and as I said, it will be a tough game because of the injury point of view as well. If we beat them, then I don't really think any of us should be looking behind us. I really don't. I think we should.
It'd be 9 points between them, wouldn't it?
9 points between us and Leicester. He's gone again.
No, he's there.
I'm back again. Sorry, I did disappear for a second.
It's okay. Shay, go from 9 points.
Yeah, it'd be 9 points between
us and
Leicester, and then possibly, you know,
Wolves have got Villa at home, which is a tough game. It's a derby match. So
Ipswich have got Southampton, haven't they? I think
Ipswich will beat Southampton.
No, but it's just important for us just to get a win, no matter what those other teams do. It's just important for us to get a win. But at home, should be expecting to get a win. And that just and then you're just a little bit closer. You're just a little bit closer. I think, as I said, I think 35 points would have us safe this season. And you know, could easily be well safe. But if you just want to be sure, and you want to be sure, almost going into your last game at Goodison Park as well, let's not forget. Then that's what you're aiming for.
Well, if Everton were to win at the weekend, then, like you said, we'd be above Spurs for 24 hours. They go to Brentford.
It's not easy.
With their defence at the moment, and the way Brentford are at the G-Tech, that's a tricky game for Tottenham. West Ham don't play until Monday night. They're at Chelsea on Monday night, so we'd be 1 point behind them. I'm really pulling that together. And Crystal Palace go to Manchester United on Sunday. I'm not saying that's a difficult game for Palace, but who knows? But we'd be level points with Crystal. I'm going. 1 point behind Palace. Would we be?
Well,
we'd be a point
we'd be in a
behind
different group, wouldn't we? Put it that way. We'd be in a different group of teams, and I don't think people will be talking about us as being part. And I think the pressure will be off. And once the pressure's off, I think that releases that tension a little bit. That you're not in that block. You're not in a block of teams. You're not seen as. You're just playing one game at a time. No one's really looking at you. You. I think at the moment in those. I think in the Opta thing, it's something like there's a 2% chance we'll go down. You know, I can imagine if we were to win on Saturday, then suddenly that becomes next to zero, near enough. And obviously if those other teams aren't winning, that's obviously hugely important as well.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, psychologically, if you can get into that next, or certainly if you just put yourself in amongst it, and a win does that. Keeps you close, you know. Then we'd be looking at Palace and United going. A draw wouldn't be a bad result there. Just to keep them in touching distance. It does set the mind. So it's like your mindset for different games. Then relaxes, and like Ped said, it does then become one game at a time. Just see where we are, and there's so much pressure lifted, isn't there? And you're also pile the pressure on the bottom three, bottom four, because all of a sudden Everton look miles away.
Yeah, you do, because you start to wobble the likes of Palace, I'd suggest, mainly. West Ham as well, but Palace are the big ones, I think, who would wobble in there. But yeah, I mean, it's as we said, it's totally doable. You know, and as we've just sort of seen from the last two games, the last two wins. You know, I'm still looking over my shoulder, but we can look above it. You know, and it would be nice to get into that next group, as you say, and not be talked about on Match of the Day every week as being, you know, one of the ones that are in real trouble and a sort of perilous situation, as they often say.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just looking there at it, Ipswich, Southampton at home this week, but then they've got Villa away, Tottenham, United, Palace. They've got some tricky fixtures coming up the next few this weekend. And although I'm saying, like, this will be a guaranteed home win for them against Southampton, but Southampton have started to be a bit more relaxed, I think, lately, knowing that they're gone. So, you know, they were unlucky not to win at United. They were 3-0 down at Forest and got it back to 3-2, nearly equalised at the weekend. The week before. And against Newcastle at the weekend, they were winning and sort of shot themselves in the foot and ended up getting beat 3-1. So they could go to Ipswich and who knows, end up getting a draw or something, because Ipswich will look at that going, we have to win this one. These are bottom. This is the game we absolutely have to win.
I still think that Southampton and Ipswich go, but I think the third place for me is between Wolves, Leicester and Palace will be who fight that out, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, Wolves next three, Villa at home, Liverpool away, Bournemouth away, then Fulham, then Everton. Yeah. So, you know, if we can get some points on the board before we play them, then going there and just not losing to them means that, you know, even though we're well capable of going and winning there, that just means it keeps them at arm's length, which is what you need to do. And all eyes will be on the transfer window now from an Everton perspective. I mean, Ped, realistically, how many do you see coming in? Because there is only 6 days.
I think I can see one in a loan.
Okay, so two.
I think the loan. I think we'll do something with Chelsea.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think we'll do something. And obviously, I think there's a couple of choices there on the table. I think we'll do something with Chelsea, and obviously that'll depend.
In a loan?
Yeah, I think the loan. I think
Brien will go back.
Then Brien will go back, and we'll do a new loan with them, whether that's Dewsbury Hall or who's the other lad?
Chukwuemeka.
Yeah. So it depends which position is more important. And I think we'll get a centre forward from somewhere, whether it's a European, I don't know, one for 5 to 10 million quid. That will, run the line for us for the rest of the season, or in tandem with Betto or whatever. I just think that we have to. I just think we just have to. I just don't think there's. I just think we have to bring somebody in, no matter who it is, just for bodies. And if it's someone that is like got a long term, you look at it and it's not. You haven't just panicked. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is most likely leaving anyway, in the summer. I think Betto will leave.
He may have played his last game already.
He may have. I think Betto will leave in the summer.
Yeah, he will.
So
he wanted to go this way.
Brozier is obviously probably never going to play for Everton ever again. So out of the 4 centre forwards that we had, a couple of weeks ago, we were fit. There will be one in the summer, and that's Timothy, who I know Everton really like. But this season will be a huge loss for that lad in terms of development. So Everton have to be looking, and even if they bring one in now, and he's not the one they're looking at next season as being the starter. We do need bodies, and I think you've got to look at that and think, if we bring someone in who does well, then that's great. If we bring someone in who do okay, then possibly we could sell them on, or they are second, third choice striker. But we have to bring someone in because the numbers and the amount of games we've got left, we've got just under half a season left, and we can't do that with only one centre forward. It's just not possible.
No, it isn't. It isn't. You're absolutely right, and it will be interesting to see what they do. It really will, because even with someone like Noel, who's continual links, even though it's looking ever unlikely that he's going to come, you don't know, do you? Everton might go, well, we will actually go and buy him because he's 21.
Or if Mangala goes back, we could get him on a loan with an obligation.
Or a loan with an obligation, yeah. So
What's Danny Ings' situation at West Ham? Just thinking, because obviously Moyes had him, and whether we get him in on as a loan till the end of the season.
Well, he came off the bench on Sunday, and he looked all right, nearly won it. And he is somebody.
We couldn't get him on loan unless we didn't take a Chelsea player, though, could we?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, true. I'm just thinking someone like him who we know would score goals in the short term.
He's maybe one that you look at. Again, this is why I think Saturday's so important. You win the game on Saturday, and I don't think you're looking at someone like him. But if you don't win the game on Saturday, you might go,
okay, yeah.
Might, maybe for maybe. But I think if you win the game Saturday, you go, I think we'll be all right for the rest of the season.
But do you need one?
No, we do. We absolutely do.
With Betto.
No, we can't go with Betto. Betto can't get through.
We don't know what Dom's doing.
Yeah, we can't get through 60, 70 minutes a game, with his fitness. So we have to have someone coming off the bench. I don't think there's any of the kids are ready yet by a long shot. That's a real shame that there's not one ready to go. The fact that in the last couple of seasons we've had a Tom Cannon and a Ellis Sims, I'd say they'd be good enough, but they're closer than the ones we've got right now. It would be brilliant if we had one, but we don't.
And the only other one's Jai, isn't it? And I don't really. He can't play as a striker for me. No, not because everything's close control, which is great, but he's not getting on the end of crosses headers wise, is he? And he likes running and committing. Yeah, definitely behind the striker, but maybe not there. So no, it is good to be looking up. And
Dave, what are your thoughts on Seagull impressions?
What are my thoughts on it? Well, I thought to have got booked for that was ridiculous, frankly. I mean, presumably it went down as being, what's the word? Provocative, incendiary. those sort of things. But I think to actually get booked for doing a Seagull impression is ridiculous, especially when somebody pointed out yesterday, of course, that Foden does is sort of shooting the gun thing.
Yeah.
Which is actually far more provocative, on paper.
I mean, we were talking about this yesterday. Football fans have got a cheek, haven't they? I mean, we're football fans, but football fans have got a cheek, haven't they? Because the amount of abuse they dish out to football players at the game, social media. In fact, I think a manager in Scotland actually quit his job yesterday, and he wasn't even doing too badly, but he quit his job because the abuse his family took while he were at the match, and he just said, "I've had enough. I'm quitting." So the amount of abuse that footballers get, as I said, at the match, social media, I mean, it goes past some of it. Well, a lot of it goes way past any, normal levels of what you'd expect, and yet football players now and again show their teeth a little bit to fans, and they're booked up for inciting the crowd or inciting a riot or whatever it is. I mean, it is ridiculous. I mean, and Jazz was ridiculous anyway, doing an impression of a seagull, but just the fact of football fans can't take an opposition player getting their own back on you is just the most ridiculous thing I just think in football.
But there's levels of it, though, aren't there? So, for example, and we've seen it plenty of times in the past, if a player who's been getting a load of grief suddenly scores and goes and knee slides over to the opposing fans and whatever and is really, really winding them up, then you can kind of say, well, that was directly provocative. But the way that he did it, where he ran around the pitch and whatever, and he was doing his seagull arms, you can't put that in the same category as what I've just described previously, surely.
No.
Is there any evidence it was a seagull as well? Birds flap the wings.
It could have been an albatross, or it could have been a cormorant.
He could have been.
He could have been saying that's an albatross off the back.
Absolutely, there's the albatross off my back.
He could have said that's what he could have been saying.
Anything? Really?
It's just mad, isn't it? It's like, I have no problem if someone scores a goal and they come over and give you a little bit. I have no problem with that. I'm more arsed that we've conceded a goal than the guy celebrating. I do think there's levels of cheek, like the Mopai stuff was. There was a level of cheek there with what he came out with afterwards, talking about I get happy when Everton lose and stuff, and that to me just made me laugh because of how bad he was for Everton. But this thing of getting upset because they've scored a goal. That's what should upset you. You should be upset by the reason they upset you. And for me, the ref only booked them because it was to hide the fact that the fans were really annoyed with the referee for giving a penalty, which was a penalty. We all know that. But it's just that was just I mean, I can't think of a worse booking than that personally. No, apart from Gaza getting booked for booking the referee when he dropped his yellow card, which was probably a bad one.
Ever. That was the worst ever. But yeah, it was a strange one, wasn't it? But there you go. Don't do bad impressions or you get booked.
Well, is that a thing now? Because Jamie Vardy actually did the same thing against Crystal Palace last season and wasn't booked. What a shock! Yeah. What a shock! What a shock.
You see, but that's different, though, because they won't book you for an eagle, only for a seagull.
No.
It's got the S on it, you're in trouble. Yeah. You're in trouble.
You'll never squawk alone.
You've used that twice this week, and
both times it's been hilariously funny.
No. Is it any worse than Vardy running over, pointing to his badge, going 1-0, you won, now I've got a Premier League, like he was doing against the Spurs at the weekend. It's and I imagine he'll do it if he scored on Saturday against us. It's like, is that more inciting the crowd more than giving it the flappage? Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Ridiculous.
Hey ho, Illiman, you've learnt your lesson, or I hope you have. Because how will he do an impression of Fox this week?
I hope he makes that his celebration, though. Everywhere he just scores and does that now.
And then people go,
and be like,
so he just got booked for doing his celebration, which is like flying high like a bird. Maybe you can't
remember their name, can you?
Nelly Furtado.
There you go.
Maybe he's just a big Nelly Furtado fan. Or maybe he's a Liam Gallagher fan. Isn't it? Was he High Flying Birds?
No, that's Noel.
Or is he Noel fan? Yeah. There you go. You know what I mean? So there you go. Maybe he's just that.
Maybe.
I just think that if we were his defence, I think we should bring up the fact that there's no way of conclusively saying that was a seagull or any association with Brighton Hove Football Club whatsoever.
Yeah, he didn't run over, rob someone's food out the hand like seagulls do, did he? He wasn't looking for Ned.
Didn't shit on anyone's head.
Didn't do that. So therefore, there is no definitive evidence that says it was a seagull.
Do you think if he had done that, it would have been a red card offence?
Probably either of those things. What I suggested and then what you suggested, which was really dark. Then yeah, I think he would have been sent off. Right, that's football.
He was just giving them something to crow about.
Very much so.
He's gone. Fair play, Dave. I like it. They mightn't like it, but I like it. You are... There you go. I mean, Dave might get booked here.
Provocative.
Bit provocative.
I just love the fact that he's got a squawking bird on his
sound deck.
He was prepared.
We've got birds on tap.
So we've heard. Right, always on Twitter. You asked for some questions the other day.
I did.
To our Premier members.
I did.
And our Premier members have delivered. So these are random, so let's go through them. Okay?
Can you not do all of them? Can you not just find the best?
No, I will find the best.
I feel like if you do all of them,
I'm not gonna
you're making the good ones less special.
No, because what I might do is save some of them for next week.
Cut the wheat from the chaff, as they say.
I don't
know who says that. But
Aaron Orr says, what's the biggest animal you think
Aaron
you
Orr
could...
what?
Or this question.
I don't know what I'm not fucking sure.
Right. I just like it, like either or.
Yeah, no. I mean, Dave got some sort of bird hat on. Just turn to the side, Dave.
I don't think
Which
it
way,
works.
that way?
And he's got a seagull or something on. That way.
Okay.
He's got some sort of bird attire on. So fair play to him, very well prepared. Aaron Orr says, what's the biggest animal you think you could physically manhandle and tape to a lamppost?
Beaver.
A beaver?
A beaver.
You think you could manhandle a beaver and tape it to the post?
Taping it to the lamppost.
Without getting yourself clawed?
Would be the hard bit.
Yeah.
It's not the claws I worry about. It's like, they've got like a quite flappy tail, haven't they?
I think you should be without the claws.
No, I'm all right with the claws. It's that big tail that they've got, which is like, I think it's like almost for being in water.
Well, it is for probably being in water. Yeah.
Well,
so it's going to be out of water, but you're still worried about it.
I'm not worried about it. You seem to be worried about it.
You said that's the biggest.
No, that's the biggest issue, and I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
So I'm, all day with the beaver.
The beaver. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because when you think of, it's not. I'll be honest, not a subject I've given a lot of thought to. What animal I could tape to a lamppost? If I'm being perfectly honest with it, just thinking off the top of my head. You want one that's kind of docile enough for you to just sort of say, I'm just going to take you to this lamppost. Not going to be for long, just to complete a challenge. Not going to hurt you, but I'm just taping you there. What about a donkey?
Donkey would...
They're big.
No.
Would you walk it over and just say, I'm just going to quickly... But they look really sad anyway, donkeys, don't they?
Only the ones who want £2 a month. And they're actors, I believe. The rest are all like, we're having the time of our life. Taking
down the beach.
Taking the saviour's mum to Bethlehem. Just, all that kind of...
Yeah, but even Winnie the Pooh's mate, fuming. He's always depressed, isn't he? Or just looks it. He mightn't be, just looks it. But he's got very sad.
He's not a real donkey, though.
But it's based on something, isn't he? So why when...
It's based on your perception of a donkey.
Dave, on to you. What is the biggest animal you think you could physically manhandle and tape to a lamppost? Ped went with a beaver. I've chosen a donkey. I think I could get a donkey just to walk over to it and say, listen, won't be long.
I don't know why you're repeating yourself. He was here.
No, but that's what I'm going for. Reiterating. So what's Dave going for?
I'd say a collie.
Okay.
As in a dog, not a flower.
Yeah.
Okay. I think a collie would be about the right sort of sized dog. Maybe even a Labrador, but a collie, I think, would be the right sort of in terms of being able to man, he's bigger than a beaver, obviously. It's smaller than a donkey or a horse or even, a fully grown lion. Something like that,
true.
I think, to be safe. I was going to say koala, but, because they're obviously, they're built to fit around a lamppost anyway, because they have that sort of, they have that tree hold anyway. So that would be easier, but I don't think that would be enough of a test. And I'd like to go up from a koala to a collie, ideally. Final answer.
Good, I like it. Okay, Steve Cosgrove says, if riding an animal, and he's put brackets, not including a horse, was the only mode of daily transport that was available to you, what animal would you choose?
These feel very themed. They feel like...
But it's there, so answer it.
Yeah, you can start this one off.
I mean, the obvious answer here is a donkey, isn't it? Not a horse.
I was going to say an elephant.
Elephant, I mean, fair.
You're donkey obsessed.
Dave, I could see you just legs astride an elephant just coming along the road. He's obviously got a lot of experience in the equine world, hasn't he? His mind recently looked after horses. Dave on an elephant, I could see that. I could see that.
I think so. I've never ridden an elephant before, but I think that I do have the potential to ride it.
Not an elephant. I've ridden a camel, which is I'll say a camel. I'll say a camel. They're a little bit jolty, but they do the job. So yeah, a camel. What are you going for?
I'm going for a giraffe.
A giraffe, elegant, but also gives you the good viewpoint.
Yeah. And also,
where do you sit though on it?
Well, that's what I was about to say.
Because the thing is, like with camels, are well suited to passengers because they have that sort of nice natural seat between the two humps. Elephants, I think you tend to sit further forward because you can't, unless you've got a really, really wide, gate. You can't get your legs over the middle of an elephant, which is why I think you tend to sit towards the top, above the neck, kind of around here on an elephant. But the thing with a giraffe is that much as your vantage point would be great, exactly where do you position yourself? Because, you'd be in a sliding down situation. You can't get too close to the head unless you're holding on to their ears.
Well, you wouldn't disturb them, would you?
You just have to.
That would be good. You just wouldn't disturb them. So they might even know you're there. If you were,
very much like
a certain size.
In the Jedi Survivor, when you go on those things.
They might even know you're there. You're sitting so low down that you're just chilling out.
Okay.
You might need a little seat.
Yeah, I think you
might need a little box seat.
Slippage will come into it. Martin Kitney says, favourite sweets and crisps growing up.
Nice to have a non-animal based question.
I've chosen it because it was animal-based, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna say that mine were on the chocolate front. I have good childhood memories, and I know it's a divisive one, but of a Turkish delight.
Nice.
And I know it's a divisive one. It's not for everybody. And also, my childhood crisp memories are prawn cocktail skips.
Nice. I like it.
Nice, light.
I like it.
Light but flavoursome.
I like it. I remember when they brought prawn cocktail skips out. It was a taste sensation. I remember it. I remember that going into the lunchbox and it being different. It being just, what is this sensational thing that we're getting?
Taste sensation.
The thing about it also, what was great about prawn cocktail crisp is none of us had ever actually experienced a prawn cocktail. So no one had any idea. Dave would be different.
What a prawn tastes like.
Dave different. He lived in the adventurous world of Hong Kong, so I'm sure prawn cocktails were a mainstay. But for us back here, I don't think I'd ever had. So prawn cocktail, just the idea of a prawn cocktail. I mean, what's that all about? I mean, even if you say the word to yourself, it doesn't sound
good.
Doesn't sound good, does it? It sounds bordering alcohol. Go on.
But it also begs the question of what on earth do they put into prawn cocktail flavoured anything? Because how do you recreate? Because there's no actual prawn in there, is there? Right, as far as I'm aware. So how do the scientists come up with a prawn-alike flavour that doesn't contain any prawn? What's in there? Maybe that's something that we should ask for a future. Maybe we could get a scientist on, and find out how they recreate prawn cocktail flavour in our crisps.
It feels like we need someone like Paddy McGuinness to go and find out for us.
Does it?
Yeah, inside
Feels like the
factory
kind of
style,
TV show now he now does.
Does he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, more so him than Greg Wallace, I would say.
Well, very much.
Yeah, I mean,
Not as much Greg Wallace on the
No.
TV. I don't know why, but maybe something. I haven't been following the news, so I'm not sure why.
Fair play.
I know Baz once. Did you stand on his foot in a pub?
He stood on mine.
Oh, okay. Other way round. Fair play.
I don't know how close he was trying to get to me, but he definitely stood on me foot. Yeah.
Fair play. Yeah, prawn cocktail. Yeah, it's good. That's a good one. Mine would be. I'm going to say. By the way, the Turkish delight one. Fries Turkish delight. I loved as a kid.
Yeah.
It was like a delicacy. It was a delicacy. Remember the advert? Remember the
It was
advert
only
for it?
small as well. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
they
Really
were
small, yeah.
But,
The
but you
advert-
had to kind of savor it.
Yeah, the advert was very like mysterious as well. It was ladies in the sand and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. And there was that fella. Do you remember? There was a fella with the massive, great knife that was. I mean, I'm talking about in the adverts, not in real life. You would actually sort of carve it like with a big Middle Eastern.
The
kind
taste of Arabia.
thing.
It was.
Yeah,
That's what
and
it
then
said.
it would have that nice sort of pinky inside, on when the corner was chopped off.
Are we still talking about the chocolate here?
Yeah.
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 Just
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
say
yeah.
that.
The pinky
Yeah,
inside
yeah.
was
Yeah.
referring to the
was the
filling.
chocolate once it was cut. Yeah.
Fair play.
Nothing else.
Fair play. I mean, I've got so many memories of sweets as a child because my mum and dad owned a sweet shop. But things like something like Spirers, because I remember the great Spirer revolution, and you when you went to wholesalers, you were only allowed one box.
Yeah.
There was a shortage of Spirers. So obviously things like Spiders, and crisp would be like obviously going to school at 10p crisp in the tuck shop, things like that as well. That was a big thing.
I liked Monster Munch as a kid. Wouldn't eat them now, but I liked them then.
Why wouldn't you eat them now?
That's just because I don't really. That's not really my thing. But Monster Munch.
What kind of Monster Munch?
Pickled onion,
Beef.
I think, or the beef. There was the soup. There was the
No,
they
no.
were like
See,
the main soup.
I still buy them as an occasional treat, and I either go
Fair
for
play.
the beef or I go for they do like a hot and spicy one as well now in the red
Oh,
packet.
okay.
So hang on, here's a question for you, Dave. Do you buy real Monster Munch or do you buy the slightly
Aldi one?
Yeah, I don't know what are the Aldi ones called?
Monster Unch.
Monster
No,
Claws.
the Monster Claw, is it? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, the answer to your question is I buy both. And the only time I'll ever buy real Monster Munch is if I'm in our little Tesco's, right? And
Support
I
the community.
might have them there, or if I'm in a garage, right, and I'm having a pit stop, meal deal thing.
Yeah.
But if I'm going on a big shop, which I need to do later, actually, then I go and buy the Monster Claws in the multi-pack.
Well, you've got to, haven't you?
Okay.
When it comes to the multi-packs, you've got to go the claw route every time.
I used to like.
I think that's
as a
quite
kid,
good.
But
They are. I once when I was a taxi driver in a former life, I picked up someone who told me they were quite high up in Aldi at the time, and we were just having this chat. It was a very long drive, by the way. I think I was driving from Liverpool to Manchester, so we would get into stuff. And she just basically told me that all the stuff in Aldi is made in all the same factories that they make the other stuff. They just put a different thing on it, and it can be seen as slightly cheaper quality, but it's all the same stuff, and they just rebrand it as something else. And she was like, you can't have a Monster. You can't have a Monster Munch factory and a factory for somewhere else. It's all gets made in the same place. All the chocolate, everything that looks like the other thing is made in the same place, basically. So
fair play. I liked dailies as a kid, and they came and
Dailies?
They were nice. Yeah, they were like they were in a white packet.
Oh yeah.
They were 2 bars, but they were like only like this. And they were like caramel. They were a little bit like a thinner version of a Mars bar.
Okay.
But they were a bit flatter. But they were lovely. But they didn't last that long. But when I think back, I like going to the shop after school.
Yeah.
That'd be what we get. Like
get your Hovis.
lovely, not Hovis, like you know what I mean. But Glenn Watson says, would you rather have a button that pauses life for 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Rewinds everything 10 seconds, or fast forward things 10 seconds?
I think for me personally, the rewind button might be.
I think so.
Because
I
fast
think
forwarding
so.
in 10 seconds isn't really like worth it.
When
Like
you're hanging on at the end of the match, though, for Everton, wouldn't you want to?
no, time doesn't. At time, 10 seconds at the end of a match of an Everton game would get you nowhere. It would get you nowhere. the time doesn't exist in second half of Everton games that we're winning 1-0. Time suddenly becomes some other entity. Honestly, it's like Matthew McConaughey is suddenly driving a spaceship somewhere when it comes to time. So for me personally, I do think 10 seconds going backwards would probably be the best thing.
I think it helps
for me personally. There are moments when I think could just go back 10 seconds here, but
okay. Dave?
I'd agree because I think you have to think of it in the same way that how do you operate your remote control? And we're so used to sort of just going, oh, what was that? And then skipping backwards a little bit. I think the pause thing, yes, but not as useful as the rewind and the fast forward. If you can only have one of them, it's got to be the go backwards one.
Can I just point out?
I think pause would help sometimes to just give you that 10 seconds to think about your answer.
But don't you think, though, that the pause would also then normally facilitate the rewind as well? As in, if you were having a conversation with somebody, you kind of go, whoa, hang on a minute, hang on a minute.
Go back, reset.
You then still want to go back to find out exactly what they said so that you could pause again and then consider your answer and then,
great answer.
That's the route that you take.
Can I just point out?
Always the rewind.
Yeah. Can I just also point out that one of the great many first world issues that we all deal with right now is the inconsistency of the rewind or fast forward buttons on the different streaming apps. You get on Netflix, you press the button a couple of times and it takes you to where you want to go. Just a couple of... You do it on iPlayer and you've gone to the programme before you're the one you're watching. Get the consistency, people.
And on ITVX, you can't afford the adverts.
No,
so you have to watch
that's fair enough. But can we get that consistency?
Apple's not like
that.
It's so Apple's a bit of a pain.
Annoying. It's like... Press it once, press it twice. Yeah, you've gone back that 10 seconds. Yeah. Honest to God, the BBC, you've gone from watching Silent Witness to bloody the 6 o'clock news. That needs to be sorted in life.
That's an issue.
That is an issue. It's a first world issue.
It is. Okay, let's skate on. John Holt says, if you could transport to any year in Everton's entire history and live it for one season before coming back to 2025, what would it be? I'm going back to 85. I'm going back to 85. And I'm going to use the pause button before Whiteside bends it in. I'm just going to go and kick him.
Just run on the pitch.
But yeah, 85.
I'm going to let Dave answer this.
Yeah, I mean, glory days of the 80s for sure. I mean, either that or watching the cup final win again in 95. But I think the mid-80s would be better, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for the season, yeah, definitely.
I might...
You going to 1970?
No, I was thinking I might find all of ye old coins and go back and pay the rent. Stand there.
Go back to that year.
Yeah.
And then just fundraise.
No, I'll just find the cashier.
Crowdfund.
I'll just from literally just, hello, sir, have you got 10 bob? And just... Yeah.
So you could get everyone together and go, listen, honestly, if lads, we don't sort this rent out, the future is horrific.
Yeah, it's honestly,
I'm telling you right now.
Honestly.
So let's just do the rent thing, and we're all good.
Yeah. We'll move. We'll go anyway in a couple of years.
But we'll go as one.
But we'll go all together and we'll let this fella...
All together now. Yeah. Definitely. Kevin Maloney says, what shape is the sky? That simple question.
What shape is the sky? Is this one of those questions that whatever your answer is like your psych report? Like they find out your state of mind or something by whatever your answer is?
I don't. It's just ask the question.
Surely the only answer that you can give to the shape of the sky is a sphere. Because does it not have to act as a sort of outer layer of the Earth?
Yeah, but I suppose the answer to
what if it was a big square with the sphere in it of Earth, but it was still a square.
See, the answer is that it's just endless, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not. That's a boring answer.
No, it's not. It's not because again,
give a shape.
Because there is no shape. There's no shape.
It's oval.
There's no shape to it. There's only our perspective.
Dave said the biggest sphere. Ped went for oval. I've gone for square.
I didn't go for oval.
Well,
it's got no shape. I think you can hear me. I'm not silent, am I?
Your answer doesn't work.
It's shapeless and endless.
Dave Plummer says,
what
if
about
you could
for those people that they think it's all oval?
What if you're colourblind?
It's all oval now. I am colourblind. I still know what it is. David Plummer says, if you could bring back any TV series from the last 30 years and consign one to history, what two would they be?
If I could bring one back?
One back and get rid of one.
I'd get rid of EastEnders.
Okay.
And I'd bring back Rod Hull and his Pink Windmill.
Of all the programmes.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No. That wasn't what I was expecting.
Didn't think you would.
Okay, let's move swiftly.
Maybe
on.
I'll press the rewind button.
Rod Hull windmilling.
Rod Hull and his Pink Windmill.
Okay.
With drop bags.
Okay. Dave. Okay.
Well,
what is your... What? Yeah, go on.
From a nostalgia point of view, I just have to think about the things that I liked as a kid, and they were things like Chips and the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, Chips.
So I'd have to bring back those. But it's a difficult thing though, bringing them back, because are you bringing them back in exactly the same way? I.e., they had a Dukes of Hazzard movie, right, which actually in itself must also be about 15 or 20 years ago now, scarily. But that just wasn't the same.
No.
So,
I think when you bring them back, them characters are all the age they were when we watched them.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there'd be nuances because...
Nuances? Doesn't he play for Leon?
Because... Nice new mate. Nuances because obviously what went on in them things isn't what goes on now, but you bring they come back with the people in of that time.
Okay. What happened in Chips that would make you?
No, but as
can you even remember Chips past the opening scene? Because it's like the Fall Guy, isn't it? The Fall Guy.
Estrada.
Oh, I love the Fall Guy as well.
But everyone knows what happened, like in the opening credits. Like that was amazing. But then past that, it was just every week Lee Majors and his dorky mate, and obviously the Dead Hot.
It's like the A-Team.
Yeah,
it's like Heart to Heart.
The A-Team was amazing.
Heart to Heart.
The A-Team. Hang on. The A-Team had an episode with Boy George in it. No one else had that.
No, I know, but there's all of these, isn't it? Dallas, the Colbys, there's loads of them.
I don't think the A-Team and Dallas and the Colbys were quite the same.
No, they're all the same time, era, aren't they? I'm bringing, what am I? You're bringing Chips back then, Dave?
I'm bringing Chips back.
Fair play.
Okay.
Fair play.
What are you binning? What would you remove?
You see, I could lose Doctor Who, to be honest with you, controversially. Doesn't do anything for me.
How dare you?
Fair play, Dave.
How
doesn't
dare
do anything
you?
for me either.
Amazing
Doesn't do
programme.
anything for me.
No, fair play.
But there's got to be worse programmes that don't do anything for you also.
I'm
no, I
binning.
mean, undoubtedly, there are worse things.
What about, like,
Love Island, I'm getting rid of.
What about like news?
Is that real?
What about Newsnight?
No, forget
R10 on a. There could be so much better things on BBC Two, but R10.
Love Island's gone.
Love Island's a fair one.
It's gone. It's been burnt, scorched. The earth, it's gone.
Burnt though.
One of the worst.
Think of the great people who've come out of that programme though.
Not one.
Think the intelligence that have come out of that programme.
Just ends is all right. But
what about Geordie Shore?
No, all of them can go, but I've chosen Love Island. Worst.
Okay.
Towie, I don't really understand, by the way. Still.
Well, it's just basically a soap. But
it is, yeah.
You just
I
get
just
real.
don't understand how the whole merge of reality and
dramatised reality, isn't it?
But what it is
my brain.
Someone just scripts it and they just get real people to do the lines. That's all it is. So when
take an actor's job,
terrible, or they become an actors. That's literally how an actor happens, isn't it? And what I bring back. Yeah, I'm bringing Magnum PI back with again. No, they've done it, but they've done it with a. I'm not having
it. You can't do it.
It's got to be Tom Selleck.
No, I said to you literally not long ago. Said you're bringing it back with the people at the time. Yeah. So I want it now. Magnum PI with Tom Selleck in his heyday, looking like John Clinkard with that tremendous moustache on Hawaii, gorgeous island, lovely sun. Yeah, that's what I'm bringing back. Go on.
Mine's Rod Hull.
Oh, yours is Rod Hull and getting the.
And mine's a double factor because I'm bringing Rod Hull back, so I'm saving a life at the same time.
You're bringing sexy back.
This is it's a double for me.
Glenn Watson says, "Do you prefer aisle seats or window seats on a plane?" That's a nice easy.
Aisle.
Aisle. Okay.
Aisle.
Okay.
Always.
Fair play. Fair play. Mark Cotton's gone for favourite book, TV, series and film.
Oh, come on. That's
Favourite
book, TV, series and film?
I
mean, that could take
ages.
I'm going the Da Vinci Code because I loved that when I read it.
Well, which one is it? Book?
The book, that's the book.
Okay.
Favourite TV series, 24.
Okay, that's...
And favourite film, Top Gun. There you go. There's my 3. Easy. Done.
Okay.
And you two are abstaining.
Okay. I'm going to abstain on the book.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, actually, I've set up the new Top Gun's on Saturday night. So I've set that up for when I get home.
I've set
seen
that
yet.
up.
I've set it up on the record. Yeah.
Okay.
And TV series, so many in the last few years, but somewhere between Ozark and Tin Star, and one of them probably.
Okay. I'm just going to throw 3 random things
Go
out
on,
there. Book. Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to say Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Because I've read it.
Yeah.
Get on me. TV show.
First books I read, then Lord of the Rings.
TV show. Just going to say Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
Film. There's so many great films, but just as a sort of standalone would be any of the Bourne films.
Bourne, incredible.
Yeah, any of the Bourne
Right,
films.
the last one for this round. Well, there's 2. So this is a Dave only question from Jay Radcliffe. Which Gallagher brother is the best company and why? Don't say Dermot, he says. That's just for you, Dave. We've never been with the Gallagher.
I
which
believe
Gallagher
Dave.
is the best company and why?
Yeah.
It's a difficult one to answer because I have met one several times more than the other. I've met Noel Gallagher a few times and he's tremendous company. I've met Liam once very briefly for about 6 or 7 minutes and he was also very good company. So I don't have a bad word to say about either of them, but I suppose if I had to pick one, then I've spent more time with Noel, so I'm going to say him.
What was the setting to meet Liam then if it was only for 6 or 7 minutes?
I tell you exactly what it was. It was when he was with Nicole Appleton and Appleton had their own pop career with a couple of singles. And the Appleton sisters had come into Radio 1 and they were on our show. And then Liam had come
As
in with
All
them.
Saints.
And
No, just said.
Oh, just the Apple. Sorry.
Just the
All
Appletons.
Saints.
Yeah.
Just
no,
MC,
yeah.
sorry.
They had a little spin-off. And so Liam came in with Nick and Nat Appleton, and Liam was in the smoking room at Radio 1 when there was a smoking room there having a fag, hence the 6 or 7 minutes thing. And we popped in there to do similar in between the 2 records, had a quick chat with him, and then we went back. But he was charming. So
there you go.
That's the one and only time I've ever met him.
Fair play. Great answer. And the final question going to Emma, why don't the French eat slugs?
Why would they eat slugs?
I don't know. Probably because they wouldn't like them, Emma.
You'd die if you eat slugs.
Would you?
Yeah, of course you would. They're full of all kinds of terrible, terrible parasites.
There you go, Emma. Answered by...
But I think the whole point is that they're only snails without the shell, aren't they?
No, they're not. That's a common misconception.
Well, Ped is our sort of slug expert.
Yeah.
So he's
Well,
I mean, do you deal with other mollusks or just slugs and snails?
Not exclusively. But you know, slugs are bad. They're bad things in them.
I'll just have to Google it right here. Just to see the official answer.
Just Google what happens if you eat a slug.
How dangerous are slugs?
Yeah.
It may be a surprise, but slugs can cause harm.
Thank you.
The slimy mucus that slugs produce can cause excess drool or vomiting in pets like cats and dogs.
Oh, yeah. That's also
even where some slugs can carry a parasite called rat lungworm, which can transfer into your pet.
Never mind pet.
A lot of it is
actual
about
people.
Yeah, because pets don't eat chocolate either, and we're fine with that.
Oh, it says, considering you're a rational human being who doesn't put slimy, gross bugs into your mouth, it shouldn't be a problem, but they could be dangerous. But it is an issue more so for pets.
Yeah.
Right,
so there's your answer,
right.
Emma.
Right, so more mollusk news.
Yeah.
The main difference between slugs and snails is that snails have shells while slugs do not. Slugs are soft-bodied and slimy and have evolved from snails by losing their shell.
Yeah, there's one then. Australian man who was left paralysed after eating a slug, dies 28. There you go. There's the answer.
That's your answer.
That's your answer.
That's why.
Severe brain infection that after when he ate the creature, which was infected with rat lungworm. There's your answer.
Double rat
There's your answer right there.
So don't eat slugs.
Don't eat slugs.
Whether you are French or any other nationality. There you go, Emma.
They don't discriminate.
They don't, and that is a great way to finish the podcast. I think on a real positive
listen,
note.
before we finish,
go on, David.
I have an announcement or a request or however you want to pitch it. But
go on.
I wanted to inform both of you and indeed everybody involved in the production department of Toffee TV that I will be heading in past the Rocket this weekend. And we'll be there for 28 hours, I think.
Big news.
Big news.
I will be there. And if you fancy a quick meet-up outside the Spello, then that's where I'll
Interesting.
be.
It's an interesting
bit of information.
The people will be flocking to the Spello.
You will be going to the Spello to see our very own David Vitti on.
Sorry, when I said the Spello, I meant the fan zone.
The fan zone. David Vitti will be in the fan zone.
Okay.
And probably the Spello.
Yeah.
So there you go. Check it out. Comedy Dave at your disposal if you want.
Yeah. I don't know if he will be at your disposal.
No, but he'll be around. Yeah. He's there. Breathing the same air as you.
Good stuff.
People. There you go. Right, that's it. Thank you very much, Dave. Like, subscribe, do all that. We'll see you next week. See you later. Bye.